Hello everyone, Tommy Manor here, back with another Speed Champions mod. This is a very heavy mod of the original Valkyrie AMR Pro Speed Champions set. And I want to start off by just quickly saying that there's also some sections of the mock this mod which are inspired by other people's mocks. Because this has been based on an older set, um, there have been lots of mocks of the AMR Valkyrie Pro out there. Very awesome ones in particular to shout out are the one by NV Carmox and 2G Bricks on Rebreakable. Love those two mocks in particular. And I think they both have really accurate proportions, which are really nice. The reason why I ended up building my own mock is for two reasons. One, both of those mocks, while really nice, cannot fit two minifigures. Um, and another reason is that I made myself a completely different diffuser section compared to the original set, which those two mocks, they sort of mimic the diffuser of the original set. I think diffusers, especially really massive ones, are such a unique characteristic of a lot of track focused cars. And if I show you some of the actual diffuser pictures up here, you can see what I'm talking about. A lot of the track focused hypercars have like these massive Venturi tunnels effectively underneath the cars to sort of accelerate the speed of the air coming out of the car. And I think it's really cool. It's a really cool feature that I wanted to implement into my own mock. So yeah, I used the if I turn it upside down, you can see these are just 2x2 slopes, pointing outwards but sideways. So a lot of use of bracket building, lots of brackets used throughout this car really, and a lot of Lego math that goes into just making everything look the way I want it to look, but also, sturdy. I copied the way the original set did the spoiler because I think that is probably the most accurate part of the original set, which is a good thing. The spoiler, I think, the original spoiler build, I think is just really suitable. So ended up using that. Now, if you look at the mock by 2G Bricks, you'll notice that he has a different spoiler build, something that looks a little bit like this. Um, and that's because this is based on the Valkyrie AMR Pro concept car. So I think this also looks really cool, and I just built this so I can switch it out with that whenever I want to. But yeah, I'm sticking with this just because I've got the stickers on there, and I like the stickers matches up with the rest of the car. So now we're done with the back. Let's move on to the center. I've still got the fin here, which again, really characteristic of the real car. I wish I did have it a bit higher, but unfortunately I was limited by how low I wanted the top of the canopy to be. Now, when we look at the top of the car, I still, let me just change my camera angle. I still maintain the sort of like cut up shape of the set itself using these fins and stuff like that. But you can see the build towards this section is quite different. I didn't want to use the hinges all throughout because the hinges require you to have a thickness of 2 tiles on there. And I thought that was just too thick to have it throughout the car. I wanted everything to be a bit lower because the real car also is really low. So I just used hinges for these sections here, and then I just lined up the rest with wedge plates. When we talk about the build of the car, the reason why this is more accurate than the real set is because I shortened everything down. The distance between the plates at the bottom of the car, the ones that are connecting the wheels, right? The distance here is 9 studs, and on the real set, I think it's like 12 or 13 studs. It's insanely long. So shortening that was easy to do, but the problem is when you shorten the base of the whole thing, you introduce lots of new challenges in terms of fitting the two minifigures because the minifigures are limited by where these studs are here, right? You can't put the minifigure's legs anywhere in this bit, but you need this sort of like empty space here to fit in the fins and like the mechanism that fits in the fins and everything, and also just structural building here. So that is the reason why I decided to use the brick built canopy instead of a windscreen, because if I use the windscreen to cover the minifigs heads, then it would be all the way far back here, and it wouldn't look like a rear engine hypercar. It would look like a strange front engine car. So yeah, and I'll show you the interior detail and how to remove the minifigures later on. So I'll show you the full minifigure bodies inside the cars as well later. Now let's move on to the fronts real quick. This is one of the most challenging um, sections of the car to build for me, and the reason being is that, so with this section, the brick built lights and everything took a lot of inspiration from the way NV CarMox did his. I'm going to put a picture up right here. But I really overcomplicated how I did things just because I wanted to get what I call the Aston Martin signature duck face, and that is having this sort of like, the mouth of the car has, of a lot of Aston Martin cars have like a very specific shape where the center is taller than the sides of the mounts, and I emulated that by having these corner sections here and here half a stud lower than this section here. And it's very subtle detail. I don't think most people would notice it, but it mattered to me personally. So I had to do a lot of Lego math to fit everything correctly, because I wasn't just trying to fit that, I was also trying to fit all of this at the bottom to get that sort of line around the car, right? And not only that, having these corners slightly lower allowed the slope to line up with the curve on top, right? So it now looks super smooth, and I just really like the side view of that. And to be honest, the side view of the whole car in general, I think is just really awesome. So another thing is that with all the sort of like math with the brackets and everything, I was able to get these the ends of the bracket pieces really close to the wheel. So in fact, like having the the plates here and here at the same height as what it was on the set allows you to go really low and close to the ground, like a real track car basically. Like everything still slides around smoothly because nothing's actually touching the ground other than the wheels, but it looks just really sort of tight and top quality, if I can say so myself. But yeah, so that's an overview of the car. So now I'm gonna show you the interior then. So the canopy just swings back open like that, and that's what the interior looks like. You can see their legs are there, and there's also a gaming console here as a controller for the driver. And to remove the figures, this needs some minor disassembly. You can do it without disassembling it, but it just becomes a lot harder, so you might as well disassemble it. This fin needs to be taken off. It's attached by one of these handy dandy single stud with bar pieces. So just take that off, and the hinges go out like in the real set, and then you can pull your figures out. And the interior is really simple. There's nothing much to it. This figure is having a harder time because of the gaming console. Might need to just pull the gaming console out then. In the real car, you actually do take out the steering wheel when you're coming in and out of the car, which is quite interesting. So yeah, that's what it looks like. Really small space, but yeah. I think one of the sort of like interesting things that I can show you here is that none of this back section of the car on the rear is attached to the rest of the car except for two Technic axles going through there, and close this up, and of course the hinge. So this hinge is just connected to several plates which connect to the front of the car. And the reason why nothing's attached is because of the offset, giving a lot of challenges to actually attach anything. So, with however, with just the axle and this plate and hinge, I arrange things so that everything's still really sturdy. So I take the back of the car, right, and I just shake it wildly like that. Nothing's falling apart, and I can do the same with the front. You know, like everything's still really stuck on there. So really happy with how that turned out as well. Another thing is, while I'm just putting this, I know that the windscreen of the obviously there's no windscreen piece here, and it doesn't sort of go along with a lot of my other mocks, but it does go along with another of my track focused cars, and that is my Praga Bohema mock, because it uses the same no windscreen sort of technique. And yeah, I'm overall, like, even if I had to compromise on not having a windscreen, I'm quite happy that now I have two mocks with this style, and they're both track cars as well. So yeah, that is my video on the Valkyrie AMR Pro mod that I did. Super happy with it. Hope you guys liked and enjoyed the video as well, and maybe learned a thing or two. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. See you later.